So we're here to talk about winning strategies in mobility. I know you're all very excited about that. I have a question for the audience before we start, though. How many people remember Charles Dickens' Tale of Two Cities? Anybody remember that? Does anybody remember how it began? A little louder? It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Dickens went on to say, it was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. And when I think about mobile, I think that we're exactly in that same process right now. It is the best of times. Never in history have we had more connected devices, better networks, more people moving into mobile. But for some, it was the worst of times. If you look at some of the transitions we've seen in the device manufacturing environment, people that have missed the mobile transitions and user experience. For others, it was the age of wisdom, where they have realized that IT and technology can help transform businesses. And for some of us, it's been the age of foolishness, where we tried to take things that worked very well in a desktop environment and just port them over into mobility. And that leaves us with the concept of the epoch of belief. The belief that we can use mobile to transform our businesses and do things that we have never done before. Which leaves us with one burning question. How do you thrive in such an opportunistic environment? And we're going to spend a few minutes talking about that now. What we're seeing is that businesses are being very adaptable. They're adapting to the concept of 4 mega technology trends, which are around mobile, cloud computing, social, big data, and analytics. And it's not just any one of these trends. It is the combination and culmination of these trends all coming together at the same time, which are giving us this epic opportunity to change our businesses. And of course, mobile is in fact one of these big transitions. And many of you in the room have already gone through some of the first phases of mobility. We're in email, we're in calendar. We're now starting to mobile-enable workflows. But mobile itself is actually evolving to what I call right-time experiences. And right-time experiences are about giving people the right information or the right service at the point of need. And this is for business to consumer, business to employee, business to partner. It's across the board for right-time experiences. And I think you've seen with Ericsson and Irish Water and some of the other examples about how this can be applicable across the board. So what's different about a right-time experience, one might ask? Right-time experiences are contextual, is one of the first big differences. Context, many people think of as just location in the mobile environment. We have location, we have time of day, we have what device you're using, what are the capabilities of that device, where you've been when you've browsed on that device, or what application you're using. We have a wealth of contextual knowledge at this point. So in addition to being contextual, they're also connected. We've had many problems over the prior years of connecting our data sources internally. And this is where mobile comes into play to really force those decisions. We talked about cross-channel and multi-channel. The experience breaks in mobile if you don't have your data connected. And the big interesting thing about mobile is we're moving beyond just connected internally to connected with third-party data as well. There's a wealth of data out in the cloud that you can start to leverage. So between contextual and connected, those are 2 big changes. There's adaptive, learning, and personalized. And we've talked a little bit about this one-to-one concept throughout the day. And that's one of the differences in right-time experiences. We're moving out of generic experiences and into experiences that are more contextual about the user, about the process, about how different people use technology. And that's a right-time experience. Just as a framework, there are many different types of right-time experiences. We're looking at commerce, care, and communications as three of the big ones that you could be developing. And I'll give you some examples of that and talk a little bit about that as we go through. So just as we talked about the evolution of technology in general, mobile's going through an evolution, and you as business leaders are going through an evolution in mobile. And I look at these as three steps, which I call extend, enhance, and transform. Extending is obvious. It's taking what you're doing today and porting that to a mobile device. Hopefully a little better than just porting it over, right? Enhancing is where you start to maybe add one or two contextual elements to a business process. And then transforming them are starting to do things in fundamentally different ways. You're looking at your processes and saying, with all the technology I have today, what can I do differently? And is it the same process for everybody? What types of workflows do we have? What does it make sense to mobile enable? So let's look at how these three phases might apply within certain types of industries or business. So if we take an example of healthcare, extending might be something like electronic prescriptions. Enhancing could be things like automatically tracking your drug samples. We had one client that shaved 45 days off of their receivables by being able to automate the capture of that drug sample being delivered to a doctor. Transforming could be basically transforming video from the ambulance to the healthcare provider, doing things like a neurologist using a tablet to prevent a victim from having stroke. In something like logistics, we've all seen e-signature capture. We've seen the move to real-time dispatch, but now we're looking at context from sensors. And in that environment, what can I learn about the health of the package and how it's been transmitted, and what can I provide to my customer so that they feel that their product is being securely, safely, and in the right environment transmitted. So we're moving into a very interesting dynamic about giving people the right information, the right experience at the point of need. It's not all about advertising. We've talked about examples where you're giving your employees the right information at the point of need. It could be something like a salesperson is going to walk into the client and needs to know that they've just been acquired. That's an example of a communications experience. So if we're evolving in mobile, what you're faced with now is that there are many ways you can evolve your business processes, and there are many technology choices that you're going to need to look through. So I've actually created a bit of a framework which I call the house, getting your mobile house in order. And getting your mobile house in order, when you think about this, what are the things that you need to mobile enable the business? You have an infrastructure. So we're talking about the wireless LAN, the mobile devices, the data plans that you need. All of this fits into your infrastructure. On top of that, you need a foundation of enterprise mobility management, which isn't just mobile device management. It's mobile device management, it's applications management, it's adding in content management as well. You're going to need to have a business process transformation strategy, because without that, you're not going to be able to develop transformative experiences. You're going to need to look at the different application development models that are out there. I've seen a lot of philosophical discussions around this. It's only native, it's only mobile web, it's only hybrid for us. And the reality is you need to match those to the use cases. What are people doing? And what's the best dev technology for that, right? And all that's going to roll up into new applications, contextual services, and processes, and those will be fueled and iterated by the analytics that tell you how people are using them, what they're using, what the performance characteristics are, and what you need to do to make that a successful experience moving forward. And these are experiences, and experiences evolve with people, which means that they're always evolving. This is a very different environment than what we had in the past. You're going to build a strategy. You are going to start out with small projects so that you don't try to boil the ocean. You gain some experience around that. You iterate. You enhance by adding context. And then you move into trying to have adaptive, contextual services and becoming a contextual, connected intelligence company. And that's what I think you need to do to move into right time experiences. Thank you for your time and attention.